Hello everybody, today's dish is going to be a lump crab and shrimp Alfredo pasta. Ingredients needed are going to be some olive oil, butter, some Parmesan cheese, salt, parsley flakes, basil leaves, oregano, black pepper, some heavy whipping cream. I'm using sweet grape tomatoes, claw crab meat, shrimp. These have been marinating in the fridge overnight. Some linguine pasta, and you're also going to need some garlic, Cajun seasoning, and some Old Bay seasoning. Let's get started. First things first, we're going to bring a pot of water to boil. Waiting for the water to boil, we're going to start off with our shrimp. And when the pan gets nice and hot, I'm going to go with some oil, just a little bit. We're gonna add in the shrimp now, and I have my heat on low. And I'm just gonna cook these until they start turning pink. And that should take maybe about 1.5 to 2 minutes. As you can see, some of them are already starting to turn colors. Alright, so as you can see now, the shrimp is starting to turn nice and pink. So I'm going to turn the stove off and set these shrimp aside in a separate dish for later. Okay, so now that the water is boiling, I'm going to add a little salt and a cupful of oil so the pasta doesn't stick. We're going to be using the whole box of pasta today, and it is a pound's worth. I'm going to push down on the sides of the pasta so that all of the pasta gets inside of the pot. If you have a bigger pot, you might not need to do this. I'm just pushing down on the edges here and bending them so that all of the pasta gets inside of the pot. And I'm going to allow this to cook until the pasta is al dente. Should be anywhere between 8 to 10 minutes. So our pasta is done. I'm going to take this off the burner and strain it. So our pasta is done and strained. I have it set off to the side as well as our shrimp. What we're going to do now is we're going to heat up a saucepan, something large enough that's going to be able to accommodate all of your pasta. I'm going to keep the flame on a medium. I have chopped up those tomatoes in half so they're not so big. Your pan gets nice and hot, you're going to go in with some butter. Now, if you were using a stick of butter, you can use about maybe 2 tablespoons, but I have this box here, so this is the amount that I'll be using. And I'm also going to add in some oil to accommodate the butter. And allow that to melt. I'm going to go in with my garlic. And this is about 4 cloves of garlic chopped up. I don't want to burn it, so just keep an eye on your garlic. You don't want it to turn black. Now I'm going to go in with my cream, and this is about 1 1/4 of the cream. Mix that in. I'm going to allow this to come to a nice simmer. And then I'm gonna add in my cheese. So this is about, let's see here. This is 5 ounces of cheese. I'm gonna use the whole thing because I like cheese, and who doesn't like a lot of cheese? So I'm gonna add that in. And I'm going to allow it to melt. I'm gonna stir it in piece by piece so that I can allow the cheese to melt into the cream. And keep your flame on low. You don't want to burn your cheese. Alright, so as you can see, it has a nice consistency now. Now we're gonna season our cream sauce. Look at that, nice and cheesy. So I'm gonna go in first with some black pepper. Some oregano here. Some basil. Just broke the top of it. Parsley flakes for nice color. Cajun seasoning for that flavor. And a little bit of Old Bay for a different kick. I'm not going to use a lot of this. And mix it in. And if you want to taste your Alfredo sauce, you can at this point. I'm going to add a little bit more of the Cajun seasoning. And I'm going to just bring this up to a simmer. And then I'm going to go in with my tomatoes. Bubbling, I'm going to go in with those tomatoes. And right now I'm just scraping the bottom so I can get any of that flavor that's stuck to the bottom nice into my cream. I'm gonna allow these to cook down a little bit because they aren't already in a can or anything. I want them to get a little bit softer. I don't want them to be too crunchy. It's been about a minute. So now I'm gonna add in my shrimp. And as you can see, there's a little bit of liquid there. I don't want that in my sauce, so I'm just scooping them out. My heat is still on low. I'm going to mix that in. And then I'm going to add in my crab. So I don't think I'm going to add in the whole can of this. This is, let's see here. This is a 16-ounce can. I'm going to probably use half of this. Okay, and stir that in. And I'm going to allow this to simmer for a minute before I add my pasta. So as you can see, it's starting to boil. I don't want to overcook my shrimp, so I'm going to start adding in my pasta now. I'm going to add it in piece by piece because I don't want the dish to become too crowded, and I want that sauce to coat everything. Now, as you can see, it is quite liquidy, but this is going to thicken up once you turn off your flame. So just keep that in mind. If you are seeing a lot of liquid, just know that once you turn off your flame and it starts to cool down, it is going to get a little thicker. I'm I'm adding the last of it now, last of the pasta. And I'm just gonna mix it in and make sure that all of that Alfredo sauce covers the pasta. And after mixing, my pasta is all mixed in. I'm gonna just add a little bit of parsley on top to give it a nice little garnish. There you have it, y'all. Lump crab and shrimp Alfredo pasta.